Bitcoin is not looking super hot right now. Let's keep it straight, guys. It is rough in the markets at the moment. In this video, I'll be breaking down some of the technicals for you, looking at some on-chain analytics as well to give us a bit of perspective and potentially a bit of hopium as well, and also talking about probably one of the most important factors right now in why Bitcoin hasn't been pumping: the lack of new money coming into the market. Particularly, we're going to talk a little bit about USDT Tether and why they haven't been printing more money recently. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing, so if that's a topic that you would like to learn some more about, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel, gently tap on the thumbs up button for the YouTube algorithm, and of course, click on the notification bell to know when I put out a new video. So let's go ahead and get straight into the charts. Okay, but before we get into the charts, I know we're going to turn to the charts in a second. Before we do that, I just have to share this meme with you. This is my kind of feeling looking at the markets right now. The sentiment that I'm seeing in the comment section, over on Twitter as well. People are very salty, freaking out, incredibly bearish, very pessimistic market sentiment that we're seeing right now for cryptocurrencies. By the way, Aliens, great film. Peak Bill Paxton, obviously, but I don't know. You know, it's one of those funny things. I feel like Aliens, I prefer it to Alien, the original. It's a tough one with sequels to actually try to be better than the first movie. Alien, great horror film. Aliens, horror film with lots of sweet explosions and guns and killing aliens. Very satisfying. Actually, I think we're going to, if the crypto markets keep like this, guys, I'm going to be turning this to a film review channel. Come on, Bitcoin. Come on. Anyway, let's get into the charts here. It's looking rough. Let's not sugarcoat it. Bitcoin currently under $30,000 at the time of recording this video. Now, $30,000 has been a pretty damn important level for Bitcoin for quite a while now. We've seen support from buyers stepping up multiple times during this entire bearish wave that we've seen coming through the markets. We've seen buyers stepping up the pressure here, stepping up the pressure here, and stepping up the pressure here to defend the $30,000 level. We have 18 and a half hours from the time of recording this video until the markets get their daily close for Bitcoin. So there's a good chance that we could see buyers stepping in here to push us back up over $30,000. But as I mentioned in yesterday's video, and I'm not going to go back over every single one of these, we've lost a key uptrend on the RSI. The MACD is still in a bearish phase. We're finally getting that Bitcoin volatility from the Bollinger Bands, but with all of the other weak indicators that we had for the market right now, that volatility is going to the downside currently. So not super awesome to see. We'll keep an eye on this, see how it plays out over the next few days. But the general bearish market sentiment, people are still calling for those much lower lows. We have a lot of people who are targeting the mid $20,000 range. Some people still saying that we're going down to $20,000. The most bearish people I see are saying Bitcoin's basically going back to $3,000. Yeah, no, you can only get so bearish, guys, before it starts sounding ridiculous. There's reasonable bearishness, and then there's just, come on, man, bearishness. Those are some come on, man, bearishness takes right there. But look, with the market being so weak right now, seeing Bitcoin down in the mid-20s, for example, wouldn't bog my mind at this point. And I'm a buyer at those levels. I know that's when most people probably won't be buying, unfortunately. That's the classic people who bought at $60,000. Man, I wish I'd been able to buy Bitcoin when it was $25,000 or $30,000. And now, of course, here those buying opportunities are. Here is that time to be accumulating. Most people won't do it because now they're afraid, right? Bitcoin's at $30,000, so it must be going down to $3,000. That's what some people are literally saying right now. So they're waiting to buy at $3,000. And they'll miss out on accumulating during this time, averaging in, right? Cost average in, simplest way to do it. And then when the prices start pumping again, and we get back up to 60, 70K, 100K, they're going to FOMO in. Well, I missed buying it at 3K because that never came, and I should have bought it at 30K, but I was too afraid. But now it's a sure thing. Now it's a sure bet. Now that it's at 100K, obviously it's going to go to $1 million. I'm going to put all my money in. Rinse and repeat until you're broke, basically. Anyway, if you do want to do some dollar cost averaging, maybe you want to do some dip buying, the classic dip buying, you need to have yourself an exchange account to do that. My number one exchange is Binance. If you use the link down below in the description to start your account over on Binance, you're going to get 10% off of your trading fees and up to $700 in trading bonuses when trading futures over on Binance. You can buy crypto using more than 50 different fiat currencies on their exchange. So if you don't have a Binance account yet, you got to get yourself one. Link down in the description for that. Now here's some very important things to have on your mind in terms of on-chain analytics. So this here is from, of course, this all Glassnode data. 10.5% of the total supply of Bitcoin was transacted between $31,000 and $34,000. Now, what does that mean? That means that a lot of Bitcoin, it's a very, very important level for us in terms of price support. If we drop much below that, that could end up causing a lot of panic selling because not all those people are going to be diamond-handed hardcore hodlers. Some of them will be. Some of them are buying and they're, yeah, whatever. Bought some Bitcoin at $31,000, $32,000. Let's check back in 10 years and see how that bet played out. Some of those people were probably hoping that, hey, this is it. And it's going to go back up to $65,000. Now I'm going to double my money in like a month. I'm a genius. When Bitcoin goes down, or if it goes down, I should say, if it goes down into the mid 20,000s as an example, these buyers are likely to start panic selling because then the mentality will be, well, I bought it at $33,000 or $34,000. It's at 26, 27 now as an example. Therefore, I should lock that loss in, get back into cash, and then rebuy it when it goes down to $3,000 again. It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, but I think this is very much worth keeping an eye on the fact that there is so much Bitcoin that was transacted. 10.5% of the total supply of Bitcoin was transacted between this level. So it's a very, very important thing for us to keep an eye on because if we go too far down, we will start seeing panic sellers coming out of there. Now, I don't think we're going to see panic sellers from this, the people who are buying in this range, panic selling at $30,000. When we start getting down in the mid 20s, if we do, again, then that's a different conversation in terms of that. But it also, when we do start going back up, some point, will create a nice floor of price support for Bitcoin because a lot of people will have bought there and they will want to, have that as their price launch pad, so to speak. Bitcoin investors also are continuing to realize significant losses. This has been going on at an incredible rate for basically 2.5 months now. Now, we had the biggest realized losses at $1.6 billion back there at the end of May. But we've had some very big capitulation events. And right now, every single day, there is $350 million worth of realized losses being taken in the market, which is kind of crazy because if you think about it, we had Bitcoin, people had all this time. They've been holding through this whole bear trend for months now, and now's the day they decide to pull the trigger and get the heck out of Bitcoin. Look, people do that for different reasons. I'm not criticizing anyone who's selling. If you think it's going to go lower and you're selling, well, that's a decision for you to make. If you need the cash, hey, whatever, man, it's all good. But just so you realize that what's going on in the market right now, we have still a lot of people losing money every day on Bitcoin. People are selling at a loss and they continue to. So just want you to keep this in mind because we're going to cover some statistics in a moment showing that there are people definitely buying Bitcoin right now. And you wonder, well, why is the price going down if some people are buying, if some people are accumulating? Because you still have people who bought at $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 who are capitulating. That is what is going on right now. So keep that in mind. Now, we're also starting, of course, to see the market separate out the hardcore believers from those who are tourists, maybe short-termers, whatever the reason they might have for selling. But here is the deal. A lot of people are buying the dip. We are seeing exchange outflows starting to pick up again. So what you see right here, 36.3 thousand Bitcoin outflow a month happening right now. So we are seeing a significant amount of people accumulating. This has entered back into that accumulation zone for a lot of investors. So we're seeing a lot of buying happening right now as the price has come down. So interesting that, of course, a lot of Bitcoin went in here. Now that, of course, aligns up with the realized losses, right? So we saw a lot of people right here sending their Bitcoin into exchanges. The same exchange outflows that we saw here were the exchange inflows that we saw here, realizing those losses. But now we've flipped a bit and we see a lot of the savvy investors, if you will, coming in and now accumulating during this ranging period for Bitcoin. And I'm sure that if we see the price of Bitcoin go down further, we're going to see these statistics increasing. We will see more Bitcoin being taken off of exchanges by those with the long-term mindset. We are also, again, of course, seeing miners accumulating Bitcoin. Miners, of course, sell into strength, not into weakness, of course, except in this situation that was due to the China FUD. But usually this is what you see when we have strong market movements. That's when miners unload supply. When the market looks weak, that is when they start accumulating supply. Also, we are seeing the illiquid supply change for Bitcoin, basically showing very clearly a return to accumulation. So we had our big distribution phase here, and now we have a lot of accumulation going on again. As I pointed out just a moment ago, that accumulation, those buyers, it's happening. People are buying Bitcoin. People are accumulating Bitcoin. But right now we have a lot of Bitcoin still in the hands of the people who are contributing to that 300, 400 billion or million, dollars a day of realized losses that are happening in the market for Bitcoin. On the other side of those trades are the accumulators. Okay, now let's move on. And I want to talk about a funny coincidence here. So yesterday, 16,000 Bitcoin worth of GBT shares were unlocked. That happened yesterday. Tomorrow we have 8,000 unlocking. Now after tomorrow, we have very small unlocks leading through into August. Nothing substantial. None of it reaching these kind of levels of grayscale Bitcoin unlocks. And for as many people liked to say that, hey, look, guys, these GBTC unlocks have zero causation towards dips in the market. Well, here we are again in one of those funny coincidence periods where we have big grayscale unlocks and we have the price of Bitcoin tanking. Just like the last half dozen big grayscale unlocks have just happened to coincide in a very, very funny, totally unrelated coincidence, obviously, that big grayscale unlocks happened, the price of Bitcoin went down. Fascinating. Just funny market coincidences. That's all we're talking about here. But the good thing is that these funny coincidences won't be happening anymore because there isn't much GBTC left to be unlocked. And again, these are shares. They don't have spot Bitcoin releases. There's a lot of misunderstanding around this. But again, it's just a funny coincidence. Right? Also, some big Blockfi news, which has probably been a big thing that spooked the market as well. So we saw a headline coming out basically that New Jersey regulators, they're cracking down on Blockfi. They issued a cease and desist order. Scary stuff going on. But what's actually happening versus the FUD titles in the media is a very different thing. But if you are a Blockfi user, I am, I know a lot of you guys are, then it's important to understand what's going on. So the New Jersey regulators told Blockfi that they can't accept any new interest account customers in the state of New Jersey only. So if you're currently a BlockFi user and you're in the state of New Jersey, at this time, your account's fine. And anyone outside of the state of New Jersey, rest of the US, New Zealand, Australia, wherever, you can keep using BlockFi. Not a problem. It's just New Jersey. It's just new accounts. It's an ongoing conversation that they're having with New Jersey state regulators. So this is one of those FUD events that the market was looking weak on a technical level. We had all this other stuff going on. This news comes out, spooked some investors. So just, you need to get the facts. Those are the facts. It's only affecting a very tiny amount of people, and hopefully they, of course, get this sorted out with the regulators in New Jersey so that new New Jersey users can come on as well. We want everybody to be able to use these kinds of services. And the final thing I want to talk about with you today is, of course, Tether. Come back to us, Tether. Come back to us. You might be a scammy, kind of shady stablecoin, but you're the scammy, shady coin that we need right now. Maybe not the one we deserve, but the one that we need. More Batman references. Can't help myself. It's like a tick. Anyway, besides the point, Tether hasn't printed any new USDT in weeks. Now, this article, it gives a lot of different explanations. The China cool down thing, where essentially China is one of the biggest markets for USDT. So we've seen Chinese investors with the whole crackdown. The demand's just fallen off, right? Really, what Tether tends to respond to is that when there's demand for dollars in the market, we see Tether printing money because there's money being demanded from exchanges and their different big whale partners. Right now, we're not seeing that demand coming through. Therefore, there's no new Tether being printed. Now, in the past, the joke, well, it's a joke that tends to be a kind of a real thing, but we see Tether printing loads of money. That tends to pump up the price of Bitcoin. That has not been happening because there's been no new Tether printed over the last few weeks. Come on, Tether. Print some money, man. Let's do it. We also have a very interesting factor in relation to all this too, which is the reality that Tether is not the only stablecoin in town anymore. We now have USDC, which has approximately half the market cap of USDT Tether at the moment. A lot of people, myself included, like USDC a lot more. The past of Tether is super shady. They've done lots of shady stuff, and then just, yeah. I've made videos on the topic of Tether and how shady the company is, and the fact that we only found out who the people behind Tether were after the Paradise Papers leaks. And of course, it's the same people behind the Bitfinex exchange, which brought up all kinds of manipulation suspicions, if you will, and on and on and on. And then it was Tether wasn't backed, and it was only partially backed. It was 70% backed, so for every dollar of Tether, there's only 70 cents actually backing it. And then we came into the situation of, well, now it's fully backed, but it's not backed by dollars. It's backed by like 3 or 4% actual cash, and most of it's sort of dollar denominated debt and stuff like this, etc. It's a mess. It's goofy. But that's Tether. Love it or hate it. It has been and will continue to be a very big and important part of the cryptocurrency marketplace. So the slowdown in Tether printing is really just a sign of the times, unfortunately. But it'd be nice to see that new money coming back in. But Tether has been printing because nobody wants to get USDT because there just isn't that heavy level of demand like there was a few months ago. Tether responds to demand much in the same way that USDC and all the other big stable coins do. And if there's not a giant amount of demand, they're not going to be printing any new dollar stable coins. So hopefully we see more of that money coming in soon. There's already 100 billion or something like that of stable coins floating around the crypto market. So I guess we don't need any more right now, but I'm sure we'll see some more in the not so distant future. Anyway, just some other food for thought there for you to keep in mind that we just are not seeing that piles of new money coming into the market right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. It's just there's already a lot of money floating around in the market, but hopefully we'll see those Tether printing presses pump up soon to come in and save the day, so to speak. Or you could just go buy Bitcoin and ignore the whole Tether thing. It's also an option. Anyway, your question for today. Do you think that Bitcoin is going to go down to like $20,000? Or do you think that we're going to continue to kind of hold this line, upper 20s, lower 30s for a while, and then we'll start to see some recovery? Or is this the beginning of the end? Let me know down below in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.